Welcome to Alice Springs, welcome to Central Australia, and look at these gum trees, these eucalypt trees. They look pretty good for auto-generated scenery. Only thing is, at this helipad where I've situated our Robinson R66 for this demo flight, they encroach a little bit too closely into that space for us, so we will have to be very careful lifting off from here in the Robinson R66. They look good, they're just a little bit over-eager there at the auto-generator. Let's hop inside our machine for today, and yeah, welcome aboard. So the purpose of this flight is demonstrate the R66, have a bit of a talk about some of its features, some of its shortcomings, some of its really strong points actually, and enjoy some of this Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 scenery as well in Central Australia. So what we'll do in this machine today, we are at the Doubletree Alice Springs Hotel helipad here. We're facing north. The wind is very calm. It's only about 1 or 2 knots from the northwest. Very gentle indeed. What is it, 31 degrees outside, so in this hot desert dry air. So we'll go north. We'll do a turn to the left, follow the Todd River down a bit. We'll turn off right here and enjoy a bit of the West MacDonnell Ranges before climbing over and back. And we'll come down to the Alice Springs Airport down here, and the helipad is at this northwestern end of the airport. We'll set down there and have a bit of a look at how the Robinson R66 turbine helicopter performs. Oh, I don't like that click spot. Look out, that is ridiculous. Come on. You do not need to make the entire door a click spot. Just the handle would be fine. It's actually just very easy to get your mouse over there and you get that effect. I suppose I could turn that off, but you could make the click spot smaller than that. Alright, so other things that aren't working. I don't think the hydraulic system's working. I'll just put it on anyway. I don't think it's modelled. Something that's not modelled correctly is the startup procedure either. It won't start up unless the fuel is in, and that's not correct on a turbine helicopter like this one. Any turbine with the fuel inside it already will, starting it up, melt the machine because there's no airflow through the turbine. So that's not working at the moment, realistically, but let's see how that goes in the future. So let's get these lights on, navigation, strobe lights. These aren't terribly well visible on the outside of machines in Flight Simulator 2024 at the moment. Get these landing lights on. Ordinarily we would be doing things like, that's the wrong button, like beeping our RPM to get it to 100. It's sitting on 100 anyway, the governor's done just right, but you would normally use the little toggle here on the collective just to beep it up and down to get it sitting right on 100. But that there is no toggle. Well, it's visually there, but it's not modelled either, so that feature's not working, but the governor's automatically done it anyway. That's good. So performance, we will be getting into an over-torque situation if we exceed about, what's that, about 84% engine torque, so we'll be trying to keep that meter below there on this little flight. I would think that would pick up between about 60 and 70% torque, and we'll just see how we go from there in this quite confined space. We don't have a lot of room here to take off, but we'll do our best. Right, yes, and there is our, I've adjusted the barometer there, so we're at just under 1900 feet above sea level here in Alice Springs. And yeah, I won't fuss over that. We're not on VATSIM or anything today, so we're just keeping it simple. Everything else there is in the green. Let's go. So, what I'm going to be doing here is adding left power pedal, left anti-torque. You can see it on the input viewer in the top right. And I'll be adding left anti-torque pedal there when we lift. So, and there might be a little bit of left cyclic needed as well. One, to keep away from those trees which are encroaching somewhat on this helipad, and two, the machine will want to tend that way anyway because of the position of the anti-torque rotor. So let's add a bit of collective now. Well, I'm finding that this Robinson machine lifts very easily, so it doesn't need much on the collective in terms of lifting it to get off the ground, but let's just introduce it now. You can see it coming up there on the input viewer. I'm getting that pedal ready. It needs quite a lot of anti-torque pedal, this one, so I'll get it, whoa, get it over there a bit, and there's that tendency, that translational tendency, so we'll try and counteract that. We're up on one skid, that's perfect, good. Alright, now we're drifting away from those trees, so I'm just edging us over with a bit of left cyclic. And as soon as we get off the helipad, MSFS 2024 thinks it's time to add that downwash effect, so it's not a very smooth transition there yet. Anyway, so where are we at on the torque? We're just below 70%, I can see that on the meter. And I don't want to drift too far forward here because we're going to get in the way of those trees. So we're allowed to lift another 10% from there. 10% torque, nose down, 10% extra torque is what I meant. And then we are on our way. So that was pretty easy. I'm going to start introducing some cyclic trim down. You'll see the little X moving forward on the input viewer there as I just introduce the trim. There's the Todd River, full of water. That's very unusual. In real life, that will be dry just about all of the time. But over millennia, that river, when it is having water in it, has cut that gap into the MacDonnell Ranges right in front and to the right there. That is called The Gap, capital T, capital G, in Alice Springs, the town that I'm looking back on there. It's all very green, this foliage. It probably should be a bit grayer if it were to be nice and realistic, but that's how it's looking at the moment. And there we go, we've got the highway and the railway line cutting through that gap there as well. Okay, I want more cyclic trim forwards. I'm just using the hat switch. I've got the sign of the hat switch on this old force feedback 2 stick. And so, yes, well, how's that your string doing? Okay, we'll get about there. So I'm just using the pedals. See how that string is just indicating that we're not quite fully lined up. So there we go. That's good. I could use the left and right trim. I just don't think I need to really. Okay, so we're at about 82% torque there. I'm going to start letting us come up. I want to climb over the West MacDonnell Ranges there as we cross over the Australian, or the Alice Springs Desert Park here. A lovely place for visitors to go in Alice Springs. There's a good little woodland habitat down here if you're into bird watching like I am, my outdoors hobby. Flight simulation is my indoors hobby. I've seen ground cuckoo shrike and grey honeyeater here. Anyway, let's talk about the helicopter. I'm just now coming back on the cyclic. I trim back a little bit so that we can start to climb up over the Western MacDonnell Ranges here. They're about, I think, about 800 feet prominence over the surrounding landscape, so we'll probably just need to be at about 3,000 feet to get safely over. Getting a bit close, I'll just come over here a bit. Still climbing up. Up you come. Good. I don't know that I've been able to quite achieve the standard or published cruise speed of 110 knots without exceeding the engine torque. I'd be interested to know what other people's experiences are of that. Oh, look at that. I think that's great. I just think the scenery and the alive feel of the simulator is just fantastic. The difference between the cloud and the cloudless sky there, what it does to the landscape with the sun coming through, that's stunning. Great work. Let's just get ourselves over here. Oh, it looks like there might even be showers out there on the horizon. When it rains in Central Australia, it really rains. Well, it can do. And then it just fills up with water very fast. Look at this. Oh, wow. I reckon that looks fantastic. That haze and the way the light's moving through there as we come along the other side of the Western MacDonnell Ranges here. Wow. I think so anyway. So, let's get down on that cyclic trim again, so I'm not having to move my hand so far forward the whole time. I get a tired hand if I do that. And we'll just reduce the collective to just encourage us to come down the other side of these ranges here. There's a restricted airspace over there. We've avoided that. Don't need to to go into a whole lot of detail about that one. Alright, so let's see how we're doing here. The machine seems nicely trimmed. I've sort of come down quite a lot, haven't I? Did I actually get up to about 3,400 there? I've already come down 1,000 feet. Wow. It's a bit taller than I expected over there. But this helicopter's right up for it. No problems there at all. Now, I'm getting too low now. Let's just fix that. Let's... oh. Okay. That was... My collective's quite sensitive. I've only got about 7 or so centimeters of throw on my old CH controls throttle. So sometimes it's a bit easy to overcompensate, which is what I did there when the nose leapt up a bit. And there's the other side of the gap. We saw it from the northern side before. Here's the southern side. That looks pretty good. Still got that sort of weird fringe around the vegetation in front of the river there. Sort of cuts off the shadow. Don't quite know if that's something to do with my settings or a limitation of where we're at with graphics technology these days, but yeah, just bounces you out of the realism a little bit sometimes. Okay, good. Here's the main highway, the Stuart Highway. Okay, so I was trying to get my pedals there to match my bank angle. Tiny amount of pressure needed on the pedals only. Very small amount required only to get that nicely in trim, which I think it is. Oh, this cloud's really coming in now, isn't it? Look at that. Don't need to get much higher than this. I don't need to be much more than 500 feet above ground level because we're going to come up on the airport very quickly. I think this machine just flies beautifully in cruise. It just gives you no problems at all. It's very smooth and stable. I mean, I could just about trim it up and take my hands off the stick. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not the same as an autopilot, but yeah, it's nice and smooth. It's almost reminiscent of the Taugs Hangar Huey in 2020. Very nice feel on the cyclic in this machine. Love all those antennae that they've put in 2024. I know they put a bit of effort into getting that kind of stuff right. We saw some on top of the McDonnell ranges as well. That's good. Those road markings, I think that looks great. Cars driving on the wrong side of the road. Won't pay too much attention to that. Right, so how are we going here? I don't want to get too close to the runway centre line. I'll just bank off to the left here. Just gentle bit of... You can see on the input view it requires hardly anything to get that banking where you want it to go for a nice smooth flight. Now, I did mention that the helipad is at this end of the field, so we're not going to allow us to get ourselves too fast here. I'm going to start bringing the collective down, cancelling some of that nose forward or cyclic forward trim. And so our speed will be decreasing now. Now the rule here is that when we're descending, we don't want to descend more than 300 feet per minute when the forward airspeed is less than 30 knots. That keeps us out of a vortex ring state situation. Now I'm actually really going too fast now, so I'm really going to have to lower the collective and just throw on the brakes there a bit. By throwing on the brakes, I mean bring the cyclic back. Right, now there's our speed going now. That's a bit better. The helipad's right in front of me there. I'm a bit high. Not the smoothest operation there, so I should have planned that a bit better initially. Right, now here comes our 30 knots forward airspeed. I'm just going to do a bit of a zigzag here because I've not judged it too well. And don't break my own rule. Not more than 300 feet per minute down when our airspeed is this low. Yeah, I'm just going to do a 360 here. So that was just to make up for my poor planning. Consider it an extra scenic bonus. Yes, we're only at about 150 feet above ground level now. That's good. That's much better. And there's the helipad now, just over the left passenger seat there. Good. That's much better. Much better. So we're just going to keep everything nicely balanced now. I'm just doing this gentle little pedal turn. Just let the machine come this way a little bit. I'm just doing this with the pedals and the cyclic, yes. There's our H for our helipad. Yes, Alice Springs Airport. This is was a parking spot during the pandemic for a lot of the Asian airlines. Parked up their fleet of aircraft here. It was absolutely crammed full of aircraft. You know, I should concentrate on this landing. And guess what? I'm high again. So let's get this right. Get that trim back into the center. Sort of having to infer where the pad is. I know it's on this line. There it comes. That was because I was too busy enjoying the scenery. Alright. So I'm keeping everything as balanced as I can. There's quite a lot of left pedal in now. That's what's going to happen when we get into ground effect and we need to... Whoa. The downwash effect there sort of disguised the fact that we were descending faster than what I wanted. Okay. That's a bit better. To sneak a bit forward onto that pad. Try and get right on the H. Stable hover, and down we go. It's just... yeah, skipped a couple of times there just on the way down. Collective all the way down. How did we do? Oh, God, that's not too bad. Look, one thing that you get better at, the more helicopter simulation you do, is kind of knowing what's on the ground underneath you, inferring it when you can't see it. Like this two-dimensional screen, you know, it's hard. You can't sort of be leaning out here and still controlling the machine steadily. It's quite hard to develop that sense, but you'll get it in time. So you'll sort of have a feel for what is underneath you. And sometimes you're looking forward and you're watching the other landmarks moving left or right, and that'll give you a sense of where you are above the pad, even if you can't see it. It's a bit of a flight simulation skill, that one. It'd be interesting to know what it's like with virtual reality. I've not done VR flying yet, but we'll get onto that one day. Okay, let's just try another exercise here. Let's do a hover taxi forward to the main apron over in front of us. So here we go again. Lots of left pedal in, a little bit of left cyclic. What's the machine going to do? Lifting the cyclic, the collective, sorry. Lifting the collective. It wants to edge forward, so I'll cancel that. There we go. Great. That's as high as we need. Getting a bit fast already. This should be walking speed, not as... This is a decent run right now. Okay. There's your downwash effect. It's quite pronounced, isn't it? Over this dusty, dry grass here. Maybe a little bit too pronounced? Is it too hard to see? I don't know. I mean, I'll say that's too much and someone else will say, oh, come on, I want more. Let's not take out those lights on the taxiway there. I'll just just use the pedals there and just let my forward momentum carry me over onto the taxi line there. I'll just park up next to one of those parked planes as I let the machine walk forwards. Very smooth movements on all the controls, hopefully. Yeah. Is that an F5 fighter trainer over there on the front left? Wow, that's plane spotting in a flight simulator. And I had a real hang there. I wonder what that was all about. Okay. My graphics performance is generally very good in Flight Simulator 2024. I've been very happy with it. It's quite a long hang. Okay, pedal turn, and now just edging right on the cyclic to cancel that momentum going over to the left there. Now see if I can get into this parking space here. Love that effect of the asphalt, and the paint on the asphalt looks fantastic. Beautiful dimensionality and little details like that. Well done, developers. That looks just great. Helps you judge your momentum. Alright, now gently lowering the collective after we achieve that stable hover. Oh dear! Yeah, I was a bit over-eager on dropping the collective there, so I probably slammed it down a bit at the end. But not too bad, I think. Yeah, take that. Oh, I don't know. Would someone complain that I've got that tail rotor hanging outside of the yellow box there? deal with it. Look, I really enjoy flying this R66. I think it's a great addition to the fleet in MSFS 2024. It's a great machine to have a go at if you want to develop your helicopter simulation skills. It's smooth in flight. It picks up nice and easily with that sort of not too much collective needed. The cyclic's nice and smooth in flight, no problems there. You need quite a lot of left pedal when you're lifting, just bear that in mind. And all your normal helicopter simulation skills, just keeping everything nice and smooth, get that sensitivity low on your controls will help with that, so that you've got lots of resolution in the middle of the range there. Yeah, that's where you want the most value in the movement and the sensitivity in your stick controller, if that's what you're using. I like this non-centering control. It makes this kind of work much easier. So I think this is a great addition, like I was saying. I think it looks great. I do like this black and orange livery. Yeah, there's a few things to improve just with the modelling and the simulation of all of the features inside. I do hope that comes in time. I hope it's not just sort of left exactly as it is. There's room to make this even better. The Cowan Sim R66, I guess, will eventually get into MSFS 2024 if it has not already. I'll give that a go when that gets through again, because I love that machine. That was great. So, but this is a great thing to work on in the meantime, and everyone's got it in your Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 installation. Give it a go. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle on the controls, and have fun flying.